Hey, muy buenos días, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. Como siempre, muchas gracias, everyone, for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, and the love you guys extend my way. From the Cora, I appreciate every one of you. And to get into the story at hand today, well, today I want to continue off a little bit more about my story. And for those that have been with me for a long time, you guys probably heard me speak about the camarada in that other channel, right? When I was telling my story there. So do excuse me, but you could say, I held respect for his jefita as himself, right? So I do want to hear the rest of my story, right? But I will definitely touch a little extra on the wiggles with them that I didn't over there, right? But today I want to talk about the homie Blue, right? From Chiques, 805. And basically the things that occurred with him in Becarranza and how he's still sitting there, right? And forgotten for a lot of reasons, right? And of course, I am pointing fingers because that includes myself. Having been through Nayarit, and when I used to go through Tepic, I used to always make sure send them some centavos and a chicken, right? But again, I haven't been through there, so I'm as guilty as what it is, right? It's part of knowing what you signed up for, I guess, to those that say it like that, right? But anyways, I want to take you back to 2001, 2, Tehachapi. I met the homie Blue there, right? He was supporting us, or the Pilis more so, right? With C-section 7 block. So you could say, we were in pretty good communication. Because again, I was, you could say the receiver in case something hit the fan, right? It would fall on me, that type of issue. But we still would go out to the same concrete yard, right? And we was, nevertheless, he was a good homie, right? In Tehachapi, I seen homeboy, not only hold what was C-section on the ins and outs on the organizing, discipline and things like that. He had a good head, and as you guys know, things happen. From there, I went to Corcoran Shoe, and to be sincere, I don't know where he went from there, right? But a long time passed, and where I'm at right now, my story again is 2019. Just to touch a little bit to put people up to date. We got sent into Nayarit because we're torpedoes right down here in Mexico, and with some missions. And doing so, we had what we call in Cali, right, a hot rod, or just something to pull the mission with, right? And down here they call it placas sobrepuestas, and it's something that they attempt to be serious with, right? Nevertheless, I already touched on how it was for us because we're supporting a different faction than the one that had the plaza, right? And the ones that had the plaza was the Beltranes, and they didn't like us, period, point blank. Just for the fact that you were a sureño. You went up to R&R. There was only to question salvatrucha or sureño. And there is a lot of, well, Salvadorians from South Central, excuse me, they are working with them in the setas, right? So a lot of them got a pass. But if you were Sureño, from the gate, you were gonna get things handed to you the right way, right? Nevertheless, when we got there, we went through the little month of of the discipline they gave us, right? For being Sureños, and then from there they shot me up to 221, and right when we got there, there was like there is in every place, right? Paisanos that even if they were Talibans, they were in some sense okay, you know. Probably felt sorry for the way we used to get stumped in, but basically told us where camaradas were at, right? Because we still went through a phase of arregado. Basically, we had to stay in the hallway until they cleared us, right? And we're not talking about the prison, right? The CEOs or whatever, right? Talking about the Maya, the Beltranes. And but then after that, I went over to 2-3, and it's when where the homie Blue was at. To me it was a nice surprise, right? Because again, he was a good homie, and so overall, when I got there, they used to allow us to be in twos, and I tended to walk around with the homie. We never stood around, and we basically just took laps, around the whole Pinta, all the way from the soccer field all the way across, just speaking, right? And people didn't like that, right? But overall, no, La Puerca didn't like that. La Puerca was one of the main fools from the Beltranes there. And in a couple occasions, basically he pulled us down to, they call it the Talacha area, right? Where this cat named Diego was down there, and he just tried to wolf, and basically told us what we talked about, and we talk of what we talk of, right? It's none of his business, or not in them words, you guys know, but nevertheless, we were giving warnings, right? That they were on us, which we told them it was okay, At the end of the day, if we were going to do something, we are going to do it regardless them being on us, right? But we continue to do our thing, and actually, the way things are in there is no hands-on, literally. We can't put hands, steal nothing on someone, because the maña, right? They control everything. You never see Judas, period, you know? And if you stab someone, if you stomp on someone, they will literally take you down to Siete Locos, and oh, you'll be lucky if you come back up, right? Because you're going against them. But in that time we went to the phones, because we were expecting Blue's family to come in. And every time the lady came in, she she had to fly all the way down from Chiques from up there, from chiques down to see Blue, and she was old, right? We're at that stage where jefitas, they just don't have that energy no more, right? And that's understood. So, nevertheless, Blue's carnala came in, and there's a lot of trash on these yards. I'm talking about violines, whatever, so you just don't ask, right? Just don't ask us. Well, if you have a menu or well set on you, if one tells you some funny stuff like that, you're gonna go out, balls out. Don't matter what they do to you, right? At least in my case. So you come to learn that just stay away from everybody, right? You're also aware that everybody on the prison knows that the Beltranes don't like Sureños. So believe me, if you're fart, the Beltranes will find out what you ate that morning. Because everybody's telling on us. Nevertheless, there's this cat, right? There were rumors that this fool was from Azusa. And, but he was funny, right? In the sense his actions told you right away he had some BS on him, right? And, anyways, when, Blue's sister came, Homeboy basically whistled at her, right? And, when this happened, basically a Rojo told us to go ahead and tell one of the Beltranes, so we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna go and whine and cry. I I told Little, hey Blue, let's kick it and let's think about it, and who bang with you. Let's whack the shit out of him. Excuse my language, right? Cause again, there was rumors that he was just one of them cats, right, with them type of charges. So again, we didn't know for sure, but nevertheless, them actions spoke louder, right? So he said, Simon, and I knew how he was, right? And I told him, don't, right? We'll do it together. Don't even trip. But what are the Pilis gonna say? And I told him, you gonna tell him or what? It's happening, spur of the moment, and we took action. That's it. And anyways, we left it like that, right? And I understood Blue was going through a lot, right? He has oh, again, 2019, he pulled his mission 2017, and he got 27 years. As I will touch on right now, just to be clear, Homeboy didn't wait for me. He he just didn't care, to be sincere. I think he wanted to be taken out. He was just fed up, right? Because he even waited for Homeboy to be where Diego was, and he got there and started whacking him on his own. And of course, Diego had his Talibans there, and they jumped on him, and they literally binked him with bats, right? And when this happened, I was literally on the other side of the whole compound prison, right? And we heard the Billy was right there, but you know, I just won't say it, but you guys know. And they hurt the homie, right? Like literally hurt him mentally. He just wasn't the same. He started singing mono with trinchetes, speaking about things that just didn't make sense. And if you got a heart for camaradas, period, right? For then you would appreciate a camarada that you were in the Wiggles in Cali, right? In the shoes, and in Mexico he fell in line as one did, right? And I was blessed I didn't stay in the line, but that would have been the case. That would have been the case, right? Cause I did not only give everything up when I went to prison. When I got out after almost 24 years, I'm sorry to say it like this, but I gave it all up again to come to Mexico and fall in line, right? And it's what he did. You see, he had calmed down and he fell in line in a little town called Amatlan de Cañas. And in this town, he got the okie doke. It's real common here in Mexico, right? That they tell you, go ahead, do this. Yeah, you're gonna go to prison, but in a year we'll take you back out. And don't get me wrong, most of the time it happens like that, right? But you got somebody there pushing for it, you know? But in his case, he went out, he got sent to take out a sergeant, excuse me, of the Judicial. That was with the Maña. And that was just blue, right? He took on it on himself, stalked homeboy, and took action. And did so as he was requested. Keep in mind, not about the Maña, cause he listened to the Pilis that was trying to get in with the Maña up there in Amatlan, right? And he was told, you're gonna get busted, but we're gonna take you out eventually. Well, you guys can imagine what he had to go through, right? One, being in a plaza that didn't belong to the Maña. The Judiciales were gonna party with you big time first. Then the Maña get into the prison. And now this. But this, they beat them hard. They wanted to take him out. They didn't though, cause they held back, cause he was they didn't want the state to come in, cause he was born in the States, right? And his jefita and family, they could have paid for him to get out. But since he started speaking crazy, like literally hunting for heads that didn't exist, things like that, again, he would talk to you, but he would go off mentally, right? They decided it was better for him to stay in prison. And, the last time that I spoke with him, he was better to some sense, but, different plaza changed, and now I guess he was more at peace, but nevertheless, he's still seeing extras, right? And, his Efita and family had just abandoned him because they couldn't see him like that no more in a place that I understood exactly why, right? Again, it's the worst prison in all Mexico, period, when it comes to the way things are, the way things look. Anyways, and it just goes to show, the homie came down to follow suit, did what he had to do to please a Pili, the causa. He got put in a Mexican jail. He didn't even have time to enjoy the part where we went to war and we actually had more angles on the yard, right? Because he was hospitalized for a good chunk, at least 5 months, right? Again, he got out before a month before I took off. 2 months is when, shamefully, I was there when the jefita made her decision that she'd rather have him in prison. But the point is, sacrifices, right? Are they worth it? Again, gave everything, you know, and I don't say this to tap myself on the back, but I could appreciate him from Cali and knowing he was a writer, right? Solid, not a snitch or them funnies, but he's in prison for God, and I was the only one that came through and thought of him when it came to feria or even a pollo or chicken, right? Other than that, where's the pili at? Where the camaradas at? And of course, we don't do things to be recognized, to be appreciated, but at this time there was 4 pilis with us, about 40 camaradas in the prison. Yeah, we had a lot of roadblocks to unite, right? Till later, as you guys would hear. But at least on Feria, right? He's when he took out that sergeant for the Pili for a causa of maña, the Pili got good change. But he never paid a lawyer like he said he would. He never got him out. Never even sent for sopas. Now the homie, well, you guys could add how much many more years he has to do, and just being sincere, mentally and health wise, I don't think he will. But it's just how it goes. That's why I say be smart. Are you willing to do sacrifice? Your life, your family, freedom, that's part of, right? But just those precious things that just don't come back. And be misled and be forgotten, and then in a place where I don't really think you guys can comprehend how Becca runs on Tepic is. And at this time, how it was for if you were a sureño, you know, and you guys know if you were, you weren't gonna sidestep, right? Never confess, but never sidestep. But again, are you willing to sacrifice everything that will be true to you to be forgotten, period, point blank? Be smart, stay true to yourself and loyal to loved ones. Great Tuesday, everyone.